I knew that day was going to change everything the moment I opened the door and saw the emptiness where my life used to be. My heart sank, and my hands trembled as I scanned the barren apartment. The echoes of laughter and memories swallowed by the cold silence. I could hardly believe it. My daughter, the person I had sacrificed everything for, had taken it all. Every bit of savings I had worked for, the little comfort I had managed to build over the years, gone in a matter of weeks. The betrayal felt like a knife twisting deep inside me, and yet, even as tears threatened to blur my vision, a spark ignited a determination I didn't know I still possessed. This is the story I am sharing with you today on Stories of Mr. Dreamer, and I promise you, it will take you on a ride of shock, emotion, and redemption. Before we dive in, if you enjoy powerful stories like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a single journey of resilience and surprise. I remember the first signs that something was wrong. My daughter Emily had always been ambitious, but lately, her ambition had twisted into something dark. She began borrowing money under false pretenses, promising she would pay it back, and I, foolishly trusting her, handed over what little I had. I thought I was helping her, guiding her toward independence. Instead, I was paving the way for her betrayal. At first, it was small, a missed payment here, a secretive phone call there, but then, one afternoon, the truth hit me like a freight train. My bank account had been drained, my assets secretly transferred, and my home, well, my home wasn't mine anymore. She had manipulated the system, played on my trust, and left me powerless. I felt a swirl of disbelief, anger, and sadness. How could the child I had raised with love turn on me in such a cold, calculated way? I spent days in despair, pacing the empty rooms, thinking about every moment that led me here. The memories were suffocating: the birthday mornings, the school projects, the late nights she stayed up crying over trivial worries. And now, all of that love seemed to mock me. But as the days turned into nights filled with restless sleep, I realized that I couldn't stay in the pit of despair forever. I had to find a way to turn the tables, to reclaim my life, and in some way teach her a lesson she would never forget. I began quietly observing her patterns, noting her weaknesses, understanding her overconfidence. She believed she had won, that I was too broken to fight back, but that arrogance would be her undoing. The first step was subtle. I started by reclaiming the little power I still had. I contacted my bank, reporting irregularities, freezing accounts that I could access, and slowly piecing together the puzzle of her manipulations. I also gathered evidence: texts, emails, secret messages that she thought I would never find. Each piece of information fueled my resolve. Every betrayal she had committed became a building block for the plan I was carefully crafting. It wasn't about revenge in the shallow sense. It was about justice, about teaching her that betrayal has consequences, and that a mother's love, even when tested, is not to be underestimated. Then came the confrontation phase. I didn't rush. Patience was my weapon. I invited her over under the guise of reconciliation, pretending that I was still the defeated parent she thought I was. Emily walked in, confident and smug, thinking she had nothing to fear. She didn't notice the small camera I had set up, or the way I had arranged the meeting so that every word she spoke, every reaction, would be recorded. My heart pounded, but I remained calm, letting her arrogance build to a peak. She gloated, talking about how she had outsmarted me, how my life had become hers to manipulate. And that's when I let the plan unfold. With a calm voice and steady hands, I began revealing her lies, one by one, presenting evidence that left her speechless. I had contacted her employers, her friends, even her financial advisors, who had unknowingly been part of her web of deception. Slowly, the confident smirk faded from her face, replaced by panic and disbelief. She realized that while she had taken everything from me, I still had something far more powerful: truth, courage, and a resolve that no amount of betrayal could extinguish. I watched as the tables turned, as she realized that she was not in control anymore. But the story didn't end with humiliation alone. I offered her a choice: a path to redemption, to acknowledge her wrongs and take responsibility. It was a tense moment filled with raw emotion. I could see the conflict in her eyes, the flicker of remorse, and yet the shadow of arrogance still lingered. This was the moment I had hoped for: not just victory, but transformation, not just for me, but for her. I wanted her to understand the weight of her actions, to realize that trust, once broken, is not easily repaired, but that honesty and courage could pave the way to something better. The following days were not easy. Emily avoided eye contact, her usual confidence replaced by uncertainty. I gave her space, letting her feel the discomfort of her choices. At night, I would sit at the kitchen table, replaying every interaction in my head, analyzing her reactions, and refining the steps I would take to help her rebuild. Not just her relationship with me, but her sense of integrity. I realized that true lessons often come not from punishment, but from reflection, and I wanted her to face the consequences in a way that truly resonated. I started reintroducing small tasks to rebuild trust. I asked her to help with errands, small responsibilities, and to report honestly on every action. At first she stumbled, hesitated, and lied subtly. But I remained patient, observing quietly, guiding her with gentle corrections rather than harsh words. Slowly, she began to open up, her fear of failure mingling with a growing desire to do right. It was a delicate balance. Pushing too hard would make her rebel again, too soft, and she might relapse. Each day became a careful dance, a test of patience and strategy. One evening, as we sat together reviewing a financial report she had helped me prepare, I noticed her eyes glisten with shame. For the first time, she truly understood the weight of her actions. I didn't scold her. I simply said, "Emily, everyone makes mistakes, but only those who face them can grow." She nodded silently, the tension in her shoulders easing, a small flicker of the child I once knew returning. That night, I realized that victory wasn't in proving her wrong, it was in guiding her toward understanding and accountability. I also used this period to reconnect emotionally. We talked late into the night about her ambitions, her fears, and the pressures she felt from peers and society. I shared my own struggles, the sacrifices I had made, and the pain of seeing someone I loved betray me. Emily listened, sometimes interrupting with tears, sometimes with silence. But slowly, a bridge began to form. Our conversations were awkward at first, but with each night, the trust that had been shattered began to repair, piece by piece. It was fragile, like a glass sculpture, but it was real, and that gave me hope. Then came the moment when I introduced a surprise she never expected. I had secretly planned a gesture away to restore her sense of humility and responsibility. I handed her back a small portion of the money she had taken, not all, just enough to show her that restitution was possible, only if earned through honesty and effort. Her hands shook and her voice faltered as she whispered, I understand now." That simple exchange, so understated, held more power than any angry confrontation ever could. It was the turning point, the moment when she realized that life isn't about taking from others, but about earning trust and respect. By the end of that journey, I had reclaimed not only my belongings, but also my sense of self-worth. Emily had no choice but to face the consequences, to make amends, and to begin the journey of rebuilding the relationship she had shattered. And as I closed the door that night, I felt a strange sense of peace. The battle had been won not through anger, but through strategy, patience, and unwavering belief in the justice of truth. I had turned the tables, yes, but more importantly, I had preserved my dignity, my strength, and the lesson that betrayal can never truly overpower the heart of a determined parent. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you loved, or if you faced a situation where everything seemed lost, remember that resilience, patience, and strategy can reclaim what is yours. This story shared here on Stories of Mr. Dreamer is a testament to the power of quiet strength, and I hope it inspires you to never give up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And if you found this story powerful, don't forget to comment below and share with someone who needs to hear it, because everyone deserves a story of courage and redemption.